with them against you. It was over money, and in the end you were proved to be right in a sense, weren't you? Because you were right about Alan Klein, who it was all about. And I think John, in fact, admitted that toward the end. But in that time when it was them against you in that sense, I mean, it must have been a very depressing point in your life.
Yeah, it really was. It was one of the worst points, really. Because, you know, we'd been mates, we'd come up together, it'd been very beautiful, we'd done all these great things. And suddenly, here we were, really bitching at each other. And, you know, like, we'd never bitched at anyone like that in our lives. You know, you'd had arguments in your family, maybe, but never anything like that. And, yeah, I was very depressed. It really went for me, actually. I kind of, you know, I'd find myself in the morning not wanting to get up. Because I really felt, I think, what it's like to be redundant. There was a lot of it happening, you know, people losing jobs and people were going down on it. And I always used to think, well, you know, it's only losing a job, you get another job. But I experienced it, I think, firsthand, you know, because this was a big job I'd lost and couldn't think of the next one I was going to take. So, yeah, I didn't want to get up in the morning. When I did get up, I went straight to the whiskey. Hey, whoa, lovely. By about, you know, 3 o'clock, I was out of it. Or go back to bed again. So, you know, and that's not very me, all that. But luckily Linda was there and she said, excuse me, you know, I don't think you want to do that, do you? So she kept me straight eventually, but I had a few months of going off, you know.
I mean, what's even more remarkable, too, is that you came out, I mean, it's difficult reinventing yourself after the Beatles, matching it. But in a sense, you surpassed it, didn't you? I mean, your Wings was huge, then your entire career as a solo songwriter and performer.
I just stuck at it long enough, you know. No, you know, that was the big difficulty. How do you follow the Beatles? Nobody else could do it.
No.
We used to say, follow that, you know. And now it was me having to try and follow it. It was very difficult, but I just made a decision. Either I'd do that or I'd give up music. And it was too much to think I would give up music, so I just crashed on. We just put a little band together, went and did little gigs around the universities, 50p on the door, you know, just anything to get back playing, and gradually built it up into a pretty good band, Wings. By 1976, we were really shit-hot little band.
I mean, the other problem you had around that time, too, of course, was this perception of Linda as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That this was happening all the time.
Yeah.
Here was this girl who, to start with, dared to marry you. Then she was a vegetarian, and then all this, she played in the band and all that. And that must have been a troublesome time as well.
Yeah, it was very difficult, you know, but I say we knew we had to crash through. And after the Beatles, it was always going to be difficult. People would say, oh, she's never had a lesson in her life. And we said, well, the Beatles never had when we started, you know. That's where we went back to square one. They'd say things like, oh, she can't play. She's playing with one finger. Well, if you look at the film, it's actually an instrument. It's called a mini-moog. You can only play it with one finger.
Yes.
It's not polyphonic.
Yes.
So,
you could have been a doctor.
I could have. It turns out I could have been a doctor. But no, so she got made fun of. But she's, I say, very strong. She just said, no, I'm going to do it. By the time we were on tour in America in '76, she was doing a lot of very complicated keyboard work, like in songs like Live and Let Die. Very hard, and it was her doing it. It was no one faking it. So she did great, really, you know.
The other thing, too, is that you mentioned there that, you know, you felt like jacking in the game, giving up music, but, I mean, you'd find that impossible to do. I mean, music pours out of you. I mean...
Well, I do love it, yeah. Sure. I really do. I think, you know, if they fired me, I'd still do it as a hobby.
All right, well, there's a grand piano there, and in fact, it's there because it's my show, as you said. Kindly gave it to me, back to me, yes. And I've got a request.
Right.
I want you to do Long and Winding Road.
We don't do requests, Mike.
Oh,
For you.
For me.
Can I touch your knee?
Please do.